Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to our Upward Coaches preseason meeting. Thank you guys for being here. It is so vitally important that we have volunteers that make this all happen. We could not do this without you. As you can see, there's probably about 50 or so, a little over 50 coaches and assistant coaches, and that's just for the coaches. There's lots of other volunteers it takes to make this season happen. So thank you guys so much. You play a vital role. As a coach, you play a vital role. Sports ministry requires we give our best effort in teaching the sport and caring about people through ministry opportunities. This is not just an Upward League or a church league. This is our chance to provide the best youth sports experience in our community and demonstrate the gospel to the families we serve. That is the CEO of Upward, Kevin Drake. As we begin, I want to focus our meeting with prayer. So can we bow for prayer? Lord, we thank you so much for this day. I thank you for all these volunteers and their willingness to be here tonight and their willingness to give of their time to coach these children. Lord, we're so thankful for them. I pray that wonderful ministry would be done. Kids would be encouraged in sports, but also that they would hear the gospel, they would be encouraged in the word, they would be discipled this season. Lord, we thank you that we get to be a part of that, and we pray all this in your holy and precious name. Amen. Well, I want to introduce a few people to you. My name is Pastor Brian Gocher. I'm the Upward League Director, so you've probably been getting messages from me already. If for some reason you have not received messages or a text message from me, then your information is not correct. Please see me at the conclusion of this meeting, and we'll make sure you get the information in our system because we'll be sending lots of emails and lots of texts throughout the season to communicate things to you. April Sharp is the assistant director. She's unable to be here tonight, but you might have seen April at the registration night. She's a redheaded lady, and she actually helps a lot of the behind-the-scenes administration stuff happen. We have Vern Sharp, our Friday night commissioner. Vern's in the back. You wave at him, Vern. All right. Rick Koberstein is our coaches commissioner. He's standing up in the back there. Christy Gocher is our cheer commissioner. She's back there in the gray sweater. John Couts is our referee commissioner. He's not here, able to be here tonight. And then Shirlene Kilgore and Randy Kilgore. Shirlene's our concessions commissioner, and Randy is our AV tech commissioner, and our world-famous Upward announcer. Okay? If you've never heard Randy give an introduction, it is something. So you will be excited to hear that. Well, you head coaches have a red bag in front of you. And you might have thumbed through it already, but I want to go through the different components of it. We got you a brand new whistle. I tested all of them earlier, so they're good to go. So brand new whistle. You have a prayer pin in there that you can keep as a reminder. Put it on your dash, or there's a little window cling there, just to help you remember to keep praying for your team throughout the season, praying for all those boys and girls. You have a Dairy Queen gift card, a $25 Dairy Queen gift card. Now, this is to encourage you to have a fellowship some point in the season. Take your kids, have the parents all meet at Dairy Queen. You can buy them a sundae or an ice cream cone, or if you want to go get it and bring it back one night after practice or after a game, that's just to encourage you to have a little fellowship time, a little ice cream party with the kids throughout the season. A lot of people do it maybe to start the season or to end the season, but just to have that extra fellowship time. You have the PowerPoint notes of what I'm going through, so you can take notes as you have questions. Write them down, and we'll have a question time at the end of the meeting here. You have a coach's playbook, so this is your handbook that you need. This has everything in it. Answers 99% of the questions that you have and tells you how to do everything with the Upward program. You have a coach's roster. This is for you and your assistant coach. Your assistant coach has one in their folder. This has all of your kids' information on it. It has phone numbers, emails of your parents. It has everything on there, what church they go to. I think it has allergies maybe on there. But it has all of the stuff on there that we've gotten information for them. You have a practice schedule. If you see on the practice schedule, you'll see North Campus, South Campus. This place you're in right now is called South Campus, okay? The place up on Oakhill Road, 5600, is North Campus. All of our kindergarten, first grade division, second, third grade practice here. All of our fourth and fifth and our sixth through eighth grade division, they practice at the North Campus. All games are played here, okay, at the South Campus. No games are played at the North Campus. So you want to make sure and get that clear. Now, you might also see, when you get a reminder, you might see Oakhill South Campus, North Court, or South Court, okay? For practice, it really doesn't matter. Whoever you're practicing, whoever your counterpart is, you get a half court, they get the other half of the court. Just whoever sets up, if the goal is already out for the kindergarten first and you're the next kindergarten first, just go to that side. You know, you guys can kind of work that out. But that's the layout of our facility, if you don't know. You also have a rules sheet, which we'll go over in a little bit. The rules in your coach's handbook are not 100% accurate, and we'll talk about why that is in a little bit. We have some specific rules that we have found that help us and help our program to be successful. You have some things you need to hand out to your parents the first practice night. You have a parent's letter, you have a parent's roster, and you have a game schedule. Your parents will get those on the first night, and I'm hoping to have picture order forms for you to hand out as well. So that's all that is in your bag. Oh, you also have a $5 coach's coupon to the world-famous Upward concession stand. So especially if you like biscuits and gravy or walking tacos or the famous, invented only here, the walking big boy, right? The creator's right in the back there. So ask him his inspiration for the walking big boy. So if you, that is for you, that's a thank you. Feel free to use that anytime during the season. We thank you for serving. So I want to talk about the goal of Upward. We have 3 goals that we're trying to accomplish here for our ministry. Number 1, we want to build relationships with our players and our families. I often refer to this as our Upward family. I want to have long relationships and good relationships with everyone. We want to be an outreach to the community. So we're trying to encourage, be kind, be Christ-like in everything that we say and do. We also want to share the gospel truth with every player, and we'll talk about how we accomplish that as we go through tonight. But just know that everything we say and do, we want it to be gospel-oriented. We want to have a Christ-like behavior, Christ-like attitude, and then we will have a gospel presentation as we go through the season. And we want them improving on their basketball and cheer skills. That's really important to us. The focus is on improving skills. Now notice I didn't say winning games, right? We all want to win. Nobody likes to lose, but that's not our focus. Our focus is the kids to improve their skills and get better. Even the ones, if you have kids that are just outstanding athletes, they're really good at basketball, how can they improve? They can be better facilitators. They can help the other kids. They can elevate their teammates around them. So there's things that even they can do. Okay, why should we give our best effort? Because the families we are serving are part of God's creation. Genesis 1:27. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And Genesis 2:7 says, Then the Lord formed the man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person. We want all of these children, we want all of these parents to know the Lord loves them. He values them. And we want that to be a part of our Upward program. We want them to know that their Creator is there. Their Creator loves them. He loved them so much, he sent Jesus Christ to die on the cross for their sins so that they could have their relationship reestablished and they could be with them in heaven when they die. We want everyone to know that. That's why we give our best effort. This is, once again, this is not just another basketball league. This is something different. This is something special. And so we want to make sure that we treat it as such. I have 5 keys for you. Not actual keys, but keys to coaching. We want to make sure, first of all, to be organized to teach the sport. It is a little bit of a time investment. You need to read through the practice plans every week. You need to make sure you have a plan when you go into practice. I know how it is. We're all busy. I've been guilty of it. 10 minutes before practice, you're hurrying up. You're going through your practice plan. You're figuring out what you want to do. You're reading through the devotion. But we need to try to get in a good routine where we start looking, say you have a Thursday practice. By Monday, you've already started to think about that Thursday practice. You've got the devotion that you're looking at, and you're letting God work on your heart so that you can present that good devotion to those kids. So we want you to be organized. Let us know if there's anything we can do. We provide these bags for you just so you can keep your stuff organized. You can keep it with you. I take my Upward bag and I just throw it in the car and I leave it there, and then I'm able to pull it out when I need it and get the stuff out as the season goes along. So we want you to be organized to teach the sport. The great thing about Upward is they give us all of the resources that we need. If you are new to basketball, maybe this is the first time you've coached, you know basketball, you love basketball, it's the first time you've coached basketball. We have all of the resources for you, how to do the skills, the drills, the rules, how to do gameplay, everything. Upward makes it very easy for anyone. All the information is there, and we'll talk about how to access that in just a little bit. Number 2 is lead the practice devotion. This is a big part of what we do. Halfway through your practice, take a break. Halfway. Trust me, the kids will need it by halfway, okay? Sit down, let them get a cup of water or get their water bottle. If you want to do it on the court, if you want to grab one of these rooms in the back, you can. But sit down for 5 to 10 minutes and go through the devotion. Now, the devotions are in your handbook. They're also going to be in your practice plans that are on the app you can access as well. But if you are not, say, I'm not very good at leading devotions, I don't have a lot of experience, you can simply read through the devotion. It's written in such a way you could read it to the kids, ask the discussion questions, pray, and move on. But you might find that as you read them, as you start to think about them a little earlier in the week, that God begins to work on your heart, and you may be able to personalize it a little bit. Maybe there's an illustration or a story from your own life. Or you could tell them how God has worked on your heart in the past. This year, the devotions are all focused on the story of Joshua and his life. There's going to be some great and awesome opportunities for us to talk about how kids can trust God, how they can put faith in God. You know, we think about the life of Joshua, and one of the big stories that sticks out is the wall of Jericho. And how silly that is, that God had them march around the wall, and the wall fell down. That was a miracle God did. But how silly they must have thought as they walked around the wall for 7 days. But God kept saying, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, don't stop. And then God did this amazing miracle. Sometimes in life, God's telling us to keep walking, isn't he? And we need to trust him no matter what. What a great message of faith that we can be teaching to the kids through these devotions this season. If you have any trouble with that, reach out to Rick, myself, one of our other commissioners, and we'd love to help you with that. But that's a big part of what we do at Upward. Number 3, your job as a coach is to communicate with the parents. I need to ask you a personal favor. Please communicate with the parents, because if you don't, then they will communicate with me, okay? They all have my number. They all have my email. And if you don't talk to them, if you don't keep them up to date, then they will call me and ask me. And we have 200 kids in our league this year, so that's 200 phone calls that I really don't need. But you guys have an opportunity to reach out to them weekly via email, via text, all of those things, to let them know about what's happening. And there's a very easy system we'll get to when we talk about the app. But communicating with the parents is very important, and so make sure that you do that. One of the great ways that I found is to see every team has a web page. Early on, make sure to send them that web page. There's actually a QR code on the parents' roster. They can scan that. Tell them to bookmark it, because if you yourself will be getting 8 or 10 or how many ever kids are on your team calls. What jersey are we this week? What time's our game again? When's our practice? Everything is on here. You can look and see the game. This was from last season, but it tells you exactly what it'll tell. And if you're in the kindergarten or first grade, it'll say South Campus Gym, North Side, South Side, whatever. Tells them what color jersey to wear. Tells them practice. Has your information on there. Every team has a website, so make sure to communicate that to your parents, and that'll save you a little bit of time as well. Number 4, we want to instill teamwork, a competitive spirit, and a growth mindset. One of the biggest things about Upward that I love about basketball in general, but especially what we do about Upward, is it's a team sport. Now, if you watch, we were just talking about the upper leagues, NBA and college. That can be very much an individual sport, right? There's always a superstar on the team or something like that. But we don't want that at Upward. We want the teamwork element to come through. We want all of the kids to be working together. Even, like I said earlier, the ones that are really skilled, they can improve in their game through teamwork, by helping those other kids that are not as skilled. So we want to make sure that teamwork is one of our goals. We do want to have a competitive spirit, but a healthy competitive spirit, right? We want to make sure kids understand we're here to play a game. We're going to try to win the game, but we need to be good losers and we need to be good winners as well. And you, the coaches, are going to have a lot to set that tone, to make sure the kids understand, hey, we're going to be gracious when we win, right? We're going to be humble. And we're also going to not be the world is over when we lose or mad or angry, right? It's just a game. We get over it and move on to the next week. We also need to have a growth mindset. We need to ask the kids, how can we see these kids, whether it's basketball or cheer, how can they grow in this sport? How can they continue to improve in their skills? So that's really important. The last thing is follow the circle of affirmation. This is something unique to Upward, and this is something that makes our program very special. And I've seen this work really well, and then I've also seen the negative of this, the circle of affirmation. There's the circle of criticism, right? So the way it's supposed to work is our attitudes and actions are reflecting a Christ-like attitude, okay? So it would say, for instance, the referee makes a call. You know, our referees are not paid. They're volunteers. They do the very best that they possibly can. We train them. We love them, but they're human. They might make a mistake, right? So what happens? What do we do? How do we respond to that? Well, the coach needs to give a positive response to the referee's call, right? So we don't need to be, what are you doing? You know, throwing our arms up, acting all crazy, smacking the floor, pointing at the ref. None of that stuff. We need to say, okay, you know what, guys? It's okay. Let's just get back in the game. Let's play our best. Let's play hard. If you have a referee that is missing calls or it's a habitual problem, go to him during the break and ask a question and say, hey, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Am I not seeing something right, or is there something I'm missing? Help me understand why you're not making these calls or why you're making these calls, okay? Our referees will be happy to talk to you during the break and give you clarification on that. But don't go to them, don't yell at them during the game. So positive circle. Now, if you do that, the parents follow the example of the coach, and they give a positive response. The worst thing in the world is if we get fired up, and then the parents start getting fired up. I've seen this happen in the negative, and it is ugly. And I do not want to have any of that this season. I want to make sure that our parents understand, hey, bad calls happen. It's okay. Misses happen. Whatever. We're going to move on to the next thing, right? We're all trying to improve. And then finally, the children will respond positively to the coach and the parents, creating a respect for the authority figure, the referee. So I really want us to think about how we act during the game. Guys, I'm as competitive as anybody. I get fired up during the game. In fact, last season, I was starting to get fired up. My assistant coach, Joe, he turned to me and said, hey, you need to calm down. Remember, there's people here that don't know the Lord. You need to be a good example. I could have got mad at him, but I didn't. I said, you know what, Joe? You're right. I do need to calm down. And I took a minute, and I brought my level back down, because ultimately we're playing a game, right? We need the kids to have fun. We want them to enjoy it. We don't want them to hate the sport because of our attitude and actions. This is not about us. And when we get angry, when we get fired up, we make it about us. Every one of you, by being here tonight, by volunteering, are representing Upward Basketball Ministry. Upward Basketball Ministry. It is a ministry of our church. Every one of you represents our church as a coach out there. I don't care if it's your own kid that's out there. You need to make sure to have a good Christ-like attitude when you're talking and dealing with kids. Now, if you get home and you want to fire your kid up because they were lazy and they weren't whatever, but not in the middle of the game, because that parents don't know that's your kid, number one. Number two, we don't need to do that to any kid in the middle of a game. We don't need to fire any kid up because we need to fire up in the negative, like get after them. We need to make sure that our attitude and actions are Christ-like. That doesn't mean we're not competitive. That doesn't mean we're not excited. That doesn't mean that we're not into the game. But you guys know what I mean. If for some reason anyone would get out of hand I'll come to you. I'll give you a warning. And please, when I do that, try to be respectful and listen, because I'm doing it because I love you and I want our program to be successful, and I want you to be successful. I want your team to be successful. Okay? It's not a personal thing against you. It's because I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So the circle of affirmation is very important. We want to make sure that practices, game days, any interactions we have with the kids are positive. I know some of us are old school. We like to get after it. You want to have the kids run lines, all that kind of stuff. That's fine. You need to put a hand on a shoulder and kind of direct them. That's fine. Don't jerk them around. Don't grab them by the arm. All of that is inappropriate, okay? We want to make sure that we have appropriate physical contact, appropriate words when we're dealing with them. And again, that doesn't mean you don't correct. If these kids are acting crazy and they're running all over, you might have to be like, hey, everybody, line up, you're going to run, something like that. If a kid is so out of control that they're not listening to anything, they're disrupting your practice, call their parents. Say, hey, you need to come sit with little Johnny or little Susie. I can't get anything done in practice. You need to talk to them. If their parent will not respond, will not help you, come see me and we'll take care of the problem, okay? So I'm not saying be so nice, be so gentle that you just let the kids run all over you. You see, there's a balance in this, okay? So make sure that we do those things. Okay, let's talk about myupward.org. So it is a website, but it's also called a web app. So when you go onto the website, it'll ask you to add it to your home screen on your mobile phone, Android or iPhone. And so it works just like an app. It's just cheaper, and they can update it. They don't have to go through the app store to be able to update it, and it's cheaper for them to do it. But it is an awesome, it is an awesome tool. So you'll notice I'm going to send you a link to get logged in tonight. Okay, so watch your email tonight. You'll have 24, 48 hours, something like that, to log in. If you miss it, then let me know, and we'll make sure that we get you on. But if you notice here, you get get started. Okay, that just gives you like an introduction about the season. Your team, you'll have your whole team roster. You'll have resources for ministry resources, devotions, practice resources. You can communicate via text and email right there, and you can record your stars for game day. So let me go through some of this. First thing, I love this app because it has all the practice plans. If you're like me and you lose your paperwork, you might leave here and your folder is in the back of your car and you've lost it. If you have your phone, you have the practice plans, okay? So you can see every week. There's week 1, week 2, week 3. Now, you can look at these practice plans and do them verbatim if you want, but you don't have to. If you're an experienced coach and you're like, hey, that kind of works, that kind of doesn't work. Like I found skills is one thing that I do some of, but not a lot of, because I like team skills, not individual skills, because we're playing a team sport, and I got to get them ready for game day. We have 4 weeks from the first practice. They're going to be in their very first game. And I've seen it happen before. If you just do the skills and you don't do any team scrimmaging or team drills or anything like that, they get in the first game and their eyes are as big as dinner plates, because especially in the older division, that game moves fast. And they're in there and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to inbound the ball. They don't know how to shoot a free throw, nothing. So you want to make sure that you can modulate off of these practice plans if you want. Look at them, but they have some pretty clear things for you to walk through there. They also have the devotions are there as well. So you can read that and go through the devotion with the kids. You can look, I encourage you to look at it in advance. It's right there on the app. They also have videos. Now this is a cheer page. On the basketball one, they have videos as well. They have the description of the drill. They have a link to a video you can watch the drill being done. So if you're like, what is this drill? What's a mic-in? You know what I'm saying? You never heard that before. Go on there. It shows you exactly what to do. Upward has so many robust resources that you can look on there, and it gives you all of those things. And then one of the coolest features is you don't have to have a text group on your phone unless you want to. You can text them and email them right from the app, right? You can email them, send out an email, whatever, send out a text message to them right from the app. Now, if you want them to respond, I think the responses go back to email, and I think the text messages may go back to your email as well. I don't think you can do like a group chat with it. Is there no response for email? Oh, it starts a group for you. Oh, okay. That's right. I remember now. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes. So email and text, you can communicate with your roster, your parents very easily. Okay, let's talk about practice. Practice? We're going to talk about practice? So what I want you to do is flip over to page 29 in your coach's handbook. 29. '28, 29. It's on the same page. Okay, this has a breakdown of your practice. It's very simple. This is a great way to start practice. You can do practice skills through drills for the first 20 minutes. If you want to get in there and have them stretch or do a dribbling drill or layups, whatever, for a few minutes, then you can do your skills and drills. For the first half, do your practice devotion, 5 to 7 minutes. And then scrimmage. Scrimmaging is great. Now, some of our teams are on the bigger side, 8, 9, 10 even. You can do a scrimmage within your own team. If for some reason it lined up to where you're practicing against someone in your own division, feel free, talk to their coach. Do some scrimmaging with them. That's no problem. That's actually, if that did work out for you, that's fantastic because you can do some full court scrimmaging that way as opposed to the half court scrimmaging. And then into practice huddle. So I always get them together, review what they learned. Okay, hey, we did this. We talked about this. I want you to go home and work on this. Put your hands in. Go Raptors or whatever your team name is. And then take time to hang out for a minute. Talk to the parents. Make sure you kind of get to know them as well. Make sure to see if they have any questions or anything like that. Everybody for practice is going to see the ball racks right over there. You have your K through first, your second, third, and then 4th through 8th rack that will be over at the North Campus. There are the appropriate size. Okay, so you have 27.5, 28.5, and 29.5. And then I have practice jerseys on each bottom of each cart. So you can grab one set of practice jerseys because really only half your team needs a jersey. The other team can just use their shirts, whatever they're wearing. But don't just put red and blue on both your team. Let the other team that's practicing across from you use the other set. Unless, of course, you don't have another person practicing across from you. But that's essentially a practice. You're going to practice for around 12 weeks. So you'll get to know these kids very well, enough to where they'll stop listening to you at some point. So the first few weeks, they'll be scared of you, and then at some point, they won't care. But you'll have a good time. You got to bring them back, rein them in. Does anybody, before I have our coaches commissioner come up, about anything I've said about the app or about practices or anything like that, does anybody have any questions for me to start? Okay. I'm going to turn, yes, Paul.
Really quick, looking at the practice schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just the one Monday. The daycare has a Christmas program on that first Monday. So if you have a Monday practice on the 12-4, it's moved to 12-8 for that 1 week, only that week. If you can't practice on 12-8, then just skip it and go to the next week. You'll just have your first practice. You'll just be a week. You'll have 3 weeks of practice before the first game instead of 4. That's only at the South Campus. Does not affect the North Campus. Okay? So the 6 teams that are practicing on Monday at the South Campus are moving to Friday the 8th. All right? Good question. Okay, Rick, come on up. Rick's our coaches commissioner. If you coaches have any questions, Rick is your resource. He's been doing Upward. In fact, do you know, Rick, this is our 15th year of doing Upward Sports here at this church? That's exciting, isn't it? 15 years. Rick's been here for almost all of them, right? At least 11. So Rick's your resource. If you have any questions about coaching, he's done it a long time. He's been commissioner for a long time. He's here to help you guys. So turn over to you.
Sure. You might want to click that because
You want me to click it?
yeah, I'm not the good on the clicking part. All right, as he said. Okay, you want me to? Okay. So the practice devotion, if you have the app, the practice devotions are actually built into the app as well. So you can go through those and prepare those. Each practice is going to have a, do they do the cards? Is it 1, 5, 7, and it's every practice? Okay, that's different from when I did the coaching. So you'll get a practice card each week that the athletes get to take home, and it's going to have a Bible verse. It's a virtue that applies to the virtue of that particular. What is it? Every 3 weeks they do them, or is it just the same for all?
It's a little different.
Okay, theme devotions. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've done it. We changed one year to where it was a virtue each time, and then we switched to the theme. Okay, so. But the devotion can be 5 to 7 minutes. Usually there's an opportunity in there to ask questions for the kids to apply that, to their lives. So give them the opportunity to do that because it does 2 things. It builds that relationship with them, with you as a coach, but it also gets you to know them, their personalities. You're going to get some silly answers. You're going to get some that are shy that they'll say the same answer, but it gets them involved. And that's really what basketball is about, is getting them involved as a team so they can start to grow and actually get to know each other as well. Because some of them are going to know some people, some of them aren't going to know anybody. But that's part of being a team. You have to grow together. Scouting report. Read a scouting report, which gives inside look. Okay. So I guess the scouting report tells you about what each devotion is talking about. Let's see here. The next part was the sticker stars. Do they get sticker stars? That's for the cheerleaders, right?
Yes, that's what you.
Okay.
They get an iron-on.
Yeah. So our basketball players, they actually get an iron-on star. So there's green stars that you hand out each practice. So they can iron these onto the T-shirt. And then there's also going to be game day stars, which we'll talk about. But the game day or the sticker stars are green, so you can give those to the practice each week. Practice cards include the scripture that aligns with the devotion for that day. And then there's a gospel video that towards the end, and we'll let you know what time that is. There'll be 1 week where we do the gospel message. And actually, Brian comes to either here or goes to the North Campus, whichever one we're at, and takes time during the practice and actually does that. But there is actually a video link that they can take home and watch, and you can send that to your folks too, so that the family can watch it as well. So going to the game day part of it, before we get to the rules, so when you get to game day, the first thing is your team always comes here first. So you'll meet here in the room. We'll have tables set up. Please use this facility. Don't go to a classroom. Depending on if it's Saturday, we're moving teams in and out. So we need these classrooms open so that after games they can go to there. Come in here, tell them to be here about 15 to 20 minutes early. That way you can kind of, if there's some things you need to go over, you can go over those, make sure everybody's here. Meet in this room. That also helps them keep them contained. Youngsters, they want to run, they want to have fun, they see their buddies, they see their friends, they want to go do cartwheels. Well, I have girls, so they want to do cartwheels, all that kind of thing. So if you're in the younger grades, so kindergarten through third grade, at this time, we'll have your colored straps that they put on their jerseys so that we can align the colors. They will be back here on that bar area. Grab those and then have those for your team. Water bottles, anything that they might bring, try to get those out before, once it clears, go ahead and take those out before you go through the tunnel, or if you want to try to manage it, you can carry them as you run through the tunnel. It's just a little bit easier if you can go out ahead of time, take them to your bench, have that prepared for them so they know where it's at. And then prior to running through the tunnel, Marcus or Randy, depending on if it's Saturday morning or the afternoon or whatever, they'll come in here. They'll actually come with the lineup. So we give each kid the opportunity to be the first one out. So each week, whoever comes out first, the lineup's going to be different as far as when their names are announced. So Randy and Marcus will have that, keep track of that. So they'll come, they'll say, okay, this is your list for this week. They'll hand you a piece of paper that shows you the lineup, and then you can line your players up accordingly. Try to do that 5 minutes before game time, and then, like it says, they'll be announced one by one. It's a fun time. Randy's very good, and Marcus is too, at getting them hyped. And, don't be afraid to tell your players if they have a nickname or something that they want to be fun. Randy, if they don't already have one, Randy sometime during the season will give them one. He comes up with some dandies, so if there's something they want to be called by or don't want to be called by, just let him know, and he'll get that lined out. There was something else I was going to say about game day. This is in reference on game day in reference to the kindergarten, first grade. So this starts out our Saturday mornings, so it's very hectic. As a coach, you're not going to have time in between the quarters to coach your team. So you'll have a few minutes to get the next ones ready, get them in, get them out, do those 3 6-minute segments, then we go to halftime, and then so on and so forth. Because if we get started late in the morning, we have to try to make it up. We're pretty good at making it up. Last year we've done a great job in the past, but there are some times that things happen and it gets off pace, so that kind of gets us started and gets going. But as far as the rules, you'll have a list of rules. So kindergarten through first grade, each one is specific. We worked last year. There were some rules that we wanted to put in. We talked about it. We didn't get to it. And then this year, Brian, we decided just to go ahead and print up our own rules, because whether you're in a tournament, they're totally different than if you're in a rec league, if you're in a school league. There's different rules. So most of the rules are the same as far as I would say for fourth grade on up. Normally where you play them, there are some that we do specific for 2 reasons. One is for fairness. These kids are athletes that are coming here to play. If they wanted to set the bench, you can do that anywhere you go. So the younger grades, you're going to, in your app, always use your app. So we'll start with the kindergarten through third grade. So on your app, your players are going to be listed A, B, C, D, E, F, G, depending on how many kids there are. A is going to be your best player. Now, these are not accurate. This is based on the evaluations. It figures in height. The system does that. The system is not perfect, but it's the easiest way that we can try to categorize fair levels so that we can have fair matchups. So before that first game, what you'll need to do is there is an edit function for that, and it should be used once and only once. So as you go through practice and before that first game, your A player, you may find out, is actually a C player. So try to align your players actually how you see them as a coach and how they actually practice as you see them versus evaluations, because they can be skewed. So get them in the right order before that first game, lock them in, because what that does is that's going to align the right A player with the A player from each of the other teams that are there involved. So what the system does is everybody gets to start throughout the year. So the first game is going to be A through E. The next game is going to take E off there and put in an F, or however the system figures it. But it's the same on your app as the other teams. So your A player every game should be aligned with the right A player for them. If there's an F player as the first player, it should be an F player on everybody's. If you skew that after that, if you change that after that first game, it throws it all off, and then you have kids that are guarding people that aren't the same skill level. Now, one of the things I always say is that sometimes the same skill level doesn't mean the same height level, okay? In this age group, sometimes that can kind of skew it, but if you see that, work together as coaches, work together with the referees. We want to try to make it as fair as possible, but there's going to be some matchups sometimes that just don't come out. Yeah.
About that, so last year there was a little confusion, I think, maybe about especially second, third, probably even fourth, fifth, but the height, and then say kid picks up a foul, are they allowed to switch mid-court? If they pick up 2 fouls, they have to come out, right?
Right.
So do you have to give that ahead of time? Because if you have a really tall kid and a really fast kid, he has no chance or whatever. So does that need to be done at the very beginning, agreeing upon with the other coaches? Because we had some conversation towards the middle of the season, end of the season, and I don't remember exactly where we landed on that.
Yeah. No, normally you try to keep it paired with skill level. Now I know the height thing is it, but once you change it, it's hard because if you follow the app, it's going to change it automatically. So if that person's guarding that person, they should guard them. It's one of those things with basketball, okay? I wasn't as tall when I was in grade school, but I always had to guard the tallest people because I was the tallest one on our team, even though I wasn't as tall as everybody else. So there's actually good that can come from that, from my standpoint. Because it teaches you and forces you to learn those skills to guard somebody that may be taller than you. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're better than you. And that shorter person is going to have an advantage if you teach them how to block out. I'm a big stickler on the fundamentals. The fundamentals of basketball don't change. And it doesn't matter if it's a big guy on a little guy or a little guy on a big guy, or they're matched the same. If you apply those fundamentals of basketball, then it works itself out. But I understand what you're saying. If there's height, yes.
I just want to speak to that too.
Okay.
I ref some of those games, and I know the refs understand that. So we will give kind of hints to the kids because we know they have 1 foul to say, hey, we got 1, be careful, be careful. And it's important for the coaches too to catch on that and then talk with their kid. If you have 1 foul, if you get another foul this quarter, you have to sit out.
Yeah. Yeah, and so in those younger leagues, they have the 2 foul limit, which is just in 1 quarter. And the reason is so that someone doesn't foul out. We're still trying to teach them at that age what fouls are, how not to foul, not to hang on your player, so on and so forth. So, like I said, the color straps are used for the kindergarten through the 3rd grade. If you look through those, if you have any questions on those, read through those. They're pretty self-explanatory for those parts. There is one thing that we do in 2nd and 3rd that when it comes down towards the end of the game, let's see here. It is on the clock runs continuously with special rules in effect with fewer than 2 minutes remaining in game. So in reference to shooting fouls towards the end of the game, in that age group, there's a lot of fouls sometimes, and it can cause the games to go over. So what we do, the last 2 minutes of the game, if it's a non-shooting foul, then it results in the opposite team getting 1 point and the ball. Okay? So is that right? Offensive team gets, yes. Okay. And if it's they're a shooting foul, then it actually results in 2 points, and then it switches possession. And then if they're actually played, if it's fouled in the act of the shooting, then it's an N1 play, so they get the 3-point play. But that's just to help that end of the game progression for the game to finish up and to get that over. So, and the clock doesn't stop in that particular age group. Yes?
And what age group is that you're talking?
That's second and third.
Okay, so it doesn't, because on the second and third level 3 rules here, it has conflicting. It talks about non-shooting fouls, and shooting fouls result in offensive teams 1 and 2, and then it says free throws are awarded on all shooting fouls.
Yeah. So that's just for the last 2 minutes of the game.
Last 2
That's the last 2 minute games. Yes, that's for the last 2 minutes, the final 2 minutes of the game. The rest of the fouls, if they do get fouled, they do get shooting fouls. That's just specific for the end of the game, last 2 minutes for that age group. Yes. Yes. Yeah, sorry about that. That's correct. The last 2 minutes of the game. That is correct. It's more of an end of a game type thing to keep the game moving so that we can progress to the next one because it could get really drug out. Yes, sir.
Up until the last
That's correct.
of the game,
Fouls.
yeah, there are fouls.
Yes, that is correct.
Final 2 minutes, it's, you get a point if you.
That's correct.
No free throws.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So then our last group is the level 4, which is we do the 4th through 8th grade, and there is a couple clarifications I need to make here on the 4th and 5th grade. So, and while we're on this group, I'll just mention this year there won't be a 4th and 5th grade tournament. We did one last year because we only had 4 6th through 8th grade teams. This year we have 6 6th through 8th grade teams, so therefore that makes that Saturday game day tournament. We actually have 5 games playing. So we did the 4th and 5th grade in the past because we were trying to fill time, give teams the opportunity to rest in between. So it'll be 6th through 8th grade again this year. They'll have the tournament. We'll do the 3-point shootout like we've done in the past. The players seem to have fun with that, and the fans do too. So if you look through the rules, 4th and 5th grade this year, we will allow full court press in the 4th quarter only. In the past, we haven't had any pressing, but a lot of the other ones do that per se for the last 4th quarter. Some of them do the second half, but for 4th and 5th grade this year, in the 4th quarter, you can full court press, and then of course, like we always do, and a lot of them do, if you get up by 10 points, then you're not allowed to press if you're the team that's up. So try to give them we've had it in the past where the team hasn't had an opportunity to try to win the game just because of the way the rules were. So we're trying to keep it competitive. Like I said, this is our first time in 4th and 5th grade to allow the pressing part of it. 6th through 8th grade, you can actually press the whole game. But then that 10-point variable still plays in the whole game. The other thing, we did have a rule change this year with IHSAA. Every quarter, the fouls reset. And each quarter is a 5-foul maximum. Once you get to 5 fouls, they will shoot a double bonus. There is no 1-and-1 anymore. So we went ahead and I know my 6th grader, they're playing that now. It's actually kind of nice because it does reset each quarter. So 5 fouls each quarter, it resets each quarter. After the 5th foul, it's a double bonus. So that's for the whole game. So I know they've been doing that in college, and it's trickled down this year into the grade school levels. So we're just going to go ahead and do it 4th on up just to make it that way. Let's see what else. The other thing, if you look at the bottom, it says playing time requirements for each player in level 4. This is different between the younger kids. Each athlete plays a minute and a half of the game. Not a minute and a half. They each play a minimum half the game. So that could be the first 2 quarters, the last 2 quarters, 1 quarter in the first half, 1 quarter in the second half. But, that gives them the opportunity to play. In the past, I think we've made it where in tournament that's different. Tournament rules have applied. I don't know how we're going to do that yet. But for fairness, I would say keep it the same for the tournament. I know in the rec leagues, when they go to tournament play, it's a whole different ball game. So the rules change and everything. But we're going to try to keep it as fair as possible because they've come out here to play. They've got their team to that point. So how that tournament will work, you're going to have first and second are going to get a bye, those place teams, and then your lower teams will play the first 2 games, and then they'll play accordingly throughout. There's not really anything. Oh, the other change that we did allow for 4th and 5th grade, they can do zone defense. In the past, it's been strictly man-to-man. So 4th and 5th grade this year, if you want to do a zone defense, you can. So that's really the only changes as far as was more so towards 4th and 5th, and then for the 4th through 8th was the reset of the fouls type things.
So the 4th and 5th doesn't have the assigned person.
That's correct. That's correct. It's like normal coaching. You can play whoever you want to play as long as they each play 2 quarters. So, and like I said, you can space it out however you want. You can sub in and out. Now, it comes sub in and out. I said that, didn't I? So just use your discretion. It's hard as you're coaching. If you have someone get into foul trouble and you got to sub them in, it's hard. We try to make it fair, but as you're getting in the game, it is hard. Just try to keep track. Utilize your assistant coaches to try to help keep track of that. Or if you have somebody maybe that wants to keep a stat that they can keep track of that. It gets hard, but we try to make it as fair as possible. So just keep that in mind. Like we said, it is a ministry. So we're trying to be encouraging to everybody and the families. And the families are here. They want to see their players come out. So I just saw these. So these are the straps that the kindergarten through 3rd grade use, and you just wrap them around the jersey, the top of their jerseys, their Velcro, and then just take them off and throw them in a bucket when you're done. I already went through game day substitutions with the younger ones using the app. Rank your players. Yeah.
Just to clarify real quick on that, so you said 4th and 5th grade, press defense only in 4th quarter.
That's correct. Yep.
Different than what's on here.
That's right. That's why I got to change in here. So make sure you put that in there.
I want to make sure I heard it right.
Yeah, you heard it correct. Yes. That's the only thing that's not in there on that 4th and 5th grade. If you go down there to where it says press defense is allowed in backcourt at all times except a team. If you're 4th and 5th grade, change that to the 4th quarter only. Yes.
For the color bands and locking in your players by their alphabetical order.
Yes.
Does the app tell you A is red, B is blue?
They do.
It does.
Yeah. How that works is Randy and Marcus on game day, when they give you your list, they're going to have A through E or whatever the numbers are for that. They're going to have those 5 colors, and you just match them up. So every time you're going to have 5 players that come in each quarter.
So me and
So the first play, so whenever it shows on your app, that first, they're 4 for kindergarten first? Okay. So whatever, it's going to have 4 or 5 players or whatever. You do the same color coordination. So whoever's the first on that list for that quarter, they get red, blue, green, yellow. You just keep the same colors. It's not going to tell you which color, but you're going to know the order based on what Randy or Marcus give you for that game. He's going to give you a piece of paper, and it'll tell you the order. Huh? The order of the colors, yes. That's correct. Yep.
The color order changes every week because we don't want the kids to figure out who the A player is, who the B player is, so the color order changes every week.
and that's why it's on the paper.
That's correct. Yes.
So that every kindergarten, 1st grade coach each week is looking at the same order.
That is correct. Yes. Great question. Great question.
The names on Randy's paper are just how he's going to introduce them.
Yep. That's just because we want a new person running out first out of the tunnel each week. Yep. That has nothing to do with what's in your app. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And we'll be here to help you for that first week too. So those questions come up. It's a learning process, but it's not hard. Let's see here. So during game days, at halftime, we do a devotion out here to reach out to the folks that come to watch the players. So you as a coach during halftime, that's your opportunity to go to one of the rooms and work with your team on how they can, if you need help or need to work on something for the second half. But be encouraging, because they're going to be, some of them, this is their first time ever stepping out on a basketball court or being a part of an organized basketball altogether. So, they're going to come in, they're going to be tired, let them get a drink. If they need to use a bathroom, let them do it at that time. And then, just work with them. If there's something you want to go over for the second half, do it at that time. After the game, bring your players back to that same room. Go over how you thought they did in the game, things that you may want to try to work on in practice. Talk to the parents that are there, and hand out game stars. So the game day stars, there's 5 colors. I always utilize, all of you have an assistant coach. So maybe that's something you can assign to the assistant coach. Or if you have what you look for during the game, it's hard when you're in the game. But, if there's someone helps another player up, sportsmanship, things like that. You can be creative with them. There's an offense, there's a defense, there's an effort, sportsmanship, and Christ-likeness. And Christ-likeness, you can be creative with that one because, there's good sportsmanship, but then if you see someone that goes out and someone gets hurt and they go up and check on them, that's something that Christ would do. So attributes that you would see that Christ would use that you see in the players, because that ultimately, as a ministry, that's our top star, the white star. I always tried to give it out. Sometimes you had to be creative, but just because someone doesn't really understand basketball, they don't want to get the blue star every week, So in the app, it actually stores that information for you. So when you pull it up, it'll give their name. You can give them the star. So each week you can go through, and when you're doing that, it'll say, oh, they've already had this one. Now, sometimes, you got 8 games, so they may get the same color eventually. But always try to find ways to be creative with that so they do get, all the different stars on that part. Let's see here. Before I go to turn this back over to Brian, one thing that always helped me is you're going to have parents and they want to get involved. One of the things that the parents are a great help with that first week of practice is see if one of them would be willing to be in charge of game day snacks. So, these are kids. They love to get snacks. What we've done in the past is, a drink and a small snack. Now, everybody may not be able to do that, so that's okay. But if you find a parent that's willing to go ahead and get that sheet filled out for you and then kind of keep charge of that, that gets them involved, even though without being a coach or somebody with that type of responsibility. But there's lots of folks out there that, that's in their wheelhouse. That's what they love to do. Let them take it and run with it. Maybe that gets them involved later on where they want to help in the ministry some other way. But that at least gets their foot in the door. And that takes that responsibility off you. And the athletes love it because, they look forward to the snacks. They like picking out the snacks, that type of thing. So just make it fun, enjoyable for them, and just have fun with it. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brian. He's going to go over some of the dates and everything that are coming up.
Thank you, Rick. And as another little treat, after each game, if the kids head to the concession stand, they can get, I think it's a Airhead or Laffy Taffy or something like that. So encourage your players to stop by the concession stand after each game. One thing to clarify, I think, the app is great for practice. It also is good for game day. Like Rick was saying, there's a game day button you click, and especially for second and third, kindergarten and first, it'll help you. Once you've set your A players, you can click on there, and it'll give you rotation for that week. And at the end, you can enter your stars in once the game has been complete. One thing I thought of, Rick, while we were talking about this, that somebody had a question about this last year in second and third grade. You can do help defense. So it is man to man, but you can provide help defense. Because we allow fast breaks, so if a kid takes off down the court, and his color, he's red, he's got the red strap on, and the red strap's way back behind. A green strap can get in front of him. Now, he can't steal the ball, right? But he can get in front of him to slow him down. He can provide help defense. If you're setting picks and somebody rolls off a pick, you can pick up that man to provide help defense until you switch back. Okay. Now again, they can't steal the ball from a different color, right? They can't steal off the dribble. They can steal off the pass if the color strap is involved, either the passer or receiver, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So help defense is really big. Make sure you tell your kids that from the get-go, because you will get burned on the fast breaks. Inevitably a team will have a really good player and they'll run down and get a layup, easy layup, if you don't tell your kids, because they might be ingrained with stick to my color, but also tell them help defense. Is that clear? Has anybody got any questions about that? Okay. If I'll clean up that one rule with 4th and 5th grade, and I'll send out a fresh copy of this via email. So we had a lot of rules to go through and to clarify. So we missed that one. So we apologize for that. Okay, first practice day is December 5th, Tuesday. The Monday, December 4th, is moved to December 8th. That's an unavoidable scheduling conflict at the South Campus. I should say, December 4th is still a go for the North Campus and the cheer. Sorry, I probably should. That's confusing. Just strike that. You understand what I'm saying. Everyone has practice on the 4th at North Campus. South Campus is moved to December 8th, but then the regular schedule starts on that Tuesday the 5th. First game is January 5th. You have the games will be starting at 5:30. They're every hour, 15 minutes. On Friday night is all 6th through 8th grade this year. So it'll be 3 6th through 8th grade blocks starting at 5:30, 6:45, 8 o'clock. Okay? Kindergarten and first starts Saturday morning. I'm really sorry to do this to you, but the first game's at 8 a.m. I'm sorry. I know we had to add an hour. We had to add an hour back to Saturday, so we really didn't want to be here till 7 o'clock at night. So we had to start at 8. So you guys have there's 2 games that run simultaneously. So 8 and then 9:45. There'll be 4 games within those 2 hours because we set up the court in there. If you come for your practice, if you've never done kindergarten and first grade, there are goals in the closet, and I can take you over there. You have to kind of muscle them to get them down, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. They must be brought all the way to the ground to be put up and to be taken out. Once you get them out, you take them out, and you'll raise them up, and I can show anyone that wants to see this. You raise them up to 2 holes are showing above the white part, okay? So there's a white sleeve and a metal-looking sleeve. 2 holes above is 7.5 feet, okay? So make sure if you need help getting your goals out, let us know. If you have a person that's a kindergarten first before you, communicate. Leave the goals out. Leave the goals out for me. Don't put them up. Normally you just need 1 goal, but if you want to play a full court, you can get 2 goals out if you want to do that as well. Sometimes that helps. Last game is February 23rd or 24th of the regular season. There's no snow makeup day, so if we have a cancellation, we will not make that game up. Go to the next game. Picture Day. Y'all love Picture Day, I know that. The week of the 11th at the North Campus. So if you have practice at the North Campus, that week during your practice, you will have pictures. So make sure the kids dress in their uniforms, wear your coach's shirt. Inevitably, we can never get every kid there for pictures. Our photographer is fantastic, though. The Bennetts will leave a spot, and then if that kid can come in at one of the other times, she will Photoshop them into your team. It's awesome. So make sure that even if they miss, if they can come for one of the other weeks or the other times to make sure. December 11th. Sorry. I didn't put the week of December 11th. Then the week of the 18th, December 18th at the South Campus. Okay? Sorry, I should have put December in there. The end of season celebration is for K through 5th and the cheerleaders on March 1st. That's Friday night. We have inflatables. We have all kinds of snacks. The kids go crazy. And then in here, we'll have a ceremony for a couple of the teams at a time. Usually like no more than 3 teams at a time come in here. And everyone K through 5th and cheerleaders are invited. They'll get an end of a season award. Christy, I'm looking at you. Oh, it's a pop-up basketball hoop for their bedroom this year for basketball players. And then the cheerleaders are getting a bag. Sling bag, backpack, something like that. So the prizes are always, we try to rotate them. Like one year we give them a basketball. Last year they got a duffel bag. So it's a little different every year. But that's always a fun time. So encourage your team to come out. And then the tournament, and then the cheerleaders will do their halftime routine. So all season they're working on a halftime routine. They'll come and do that during the tournament on March 2nd. And that'll be the last thing we do for the season. So those are the important dates. All right. These are our numbers, Rick Koberstein's number and my number. You can write it down. You may be able to read it in your notes. If you take your glasses off and you look really carefully, you might be able to see it. But feel free to text us, call us. If you got a question, if you think of something about the rules that we didn't cover tonight, let us know. We want to make sure everybody's really clear before the first game. We try to have a coaches referee meeting, which we may try to do again. And that's really helpful because that helps you see the perspective of what the referees are looking at. We can go over the rules again. We can make sure the referees are all on the same page. We've done that in the past, so look for that. We may do that again this year. April Sharp has a couple of people that have not completed their background check. We're trying to get in touch with you guys if you haven't. But that's it. Last but not least, okay, here's your next steps. First step, tonight, when I get my first chance, I will issue you your link to get on the app. If you have done Upward in the past and it goes to the same email, it will ask you to do a new password. Don't freak out. You can do the same password you did last time, okay? But it just wants you to redo it for whatever reason. So this will get you on. You have 48 hours. There it is. You have 48 hours to accept the invitation. If you don't, you'll have to contact me, and I'll have to send you another invitation. Your second step, this week, everybody say it with me. This week, I need you to contact all of your parents and tell them that you are their coach. Give them the practice information. Tell them when you're going to meet them for the first practice. I always tell my parents, come a few minutes early. We'll have a little parents meeting. I take the first 10 minutes of practice and just have a parents meeting. Give them all the forms that I've given you to hand out. Talk to them. Introduce yourself. Get to know all their kids. Is there anything, talk to the parents. Is there anything I need to know about your kid? They allergic to anything? They got any special things I need to know about as we go through the season? But please do not wait. Contact them this week. Next week's Thanksgiving. You will forget. And then once again, I will be getting calls about what team is my kid on. Usually I'll get 3 or 4 calls from one team, and so I know which coach it is. And so I'll say, you haven't called your team yet, have you? It's always better to do a call. I always send an email to give them the information, but I also make the phone call. Okay, so I'll send an email. Hey, I'm coach of the whatever team, Timberwolves, blah, blah, we're going to practice, blah, 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 blah. Here's my email. Here's my contact. I send that out. Then I call everyone as well just to make sure they get the information. A voice call is always a nice touch, okay? Call them this week. Please do that before the week is out. I will send you a reminder too. Then review the coach's playbook and the app. If you have any questions, you read through it. Again, the playbook is so helpful. It's got everything in there. Look at it and let me know if anything comes up or anything you think of. Before we close, is there any questions that you guys have? Anything at all? Yes, sir.
I know my assistant coach isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hang on to that, or should I take it and give it to him?
That's up to you. If you know your assistant coach and you want to take it and give them their information, that'd be fantastic. If not, I'll track them down. So yeah, if your assistant is not here, just you can take it or leave it. If you leave it on the chair, I will collect it and make sure that I get it to them.
Our team page from the QR code has double the amount of practices twice a week. Is that because our team's terrible?
Yes, you need double the amount of practices. I need to fix that. No, we need to fix that. What team are you? Celtics. We probably just got a glitch. Celtics. And when are you supposed? Is it your
We're supposed to be Thursdays. It's got us on Thursdays and maybe Mondays.
Thursday at what time?
7.
7, and then but it also has you on Monday. Okay, I can fix that.
It also has us on the 12th. So yeah. So it has us on the 7th. So maybe that's a Thursdays and Tuesdays. I think it has. We're supposed to be Thursdays, 7 to 8.
I need to fix that. Okay. Let me know if you see any other scheduling issues. Yes, Paul.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's an issue or if this is supposed to be accurate, but I know all the documentation, like for our team, it's 5 o'clock on Mondays, and then when you look at the practices throughout, or on behalf days, some of them are 5, some of them are 6.
Go by the schedule that I handed you in the paper where it says it's got the go by the Excel spreadsheet. Go by that. I will go back into the program and see what's going on and make sure that is fixed. I'm not really sure. I will fix that before your first practice, definitely, but I'll make sure. I'll try to work on that this week. I don't know what happened, but yeah. Yeah, this week, yes. No, I'll go back in and look at why. There's a practice thing, and because we have so many facilities and different sides of the gym that we're using, it may have just glitched up on us. I don't know. Yeah, so the week of Christmas, there will not be practice. Okay, so I know EVSC is out the week before that. We're going to go ahead and have practice. Hopefully your kids will be in town. The next week, we will not have practice. So the week of Christmas, there will be no practice. The next week, the week of New Year's, we will have practice. So New Year's Day, we will have practice. Okay? Yes, that's the first week of games. There are a few flexible spots. So if something happens, you look at your game schedule, you see a grayed out spot, no one is practicing at that time. If you are a younger kids team, though, you cannot practice at the North Campus because we do not have those goals. The goals are fixed at 10 foot over there. Okay? So make sure that you look at that. If you need to move practices, let me know. If you are practicing at 5 or at 7, I will designate one person before the season starts to open the building and lock the building, okay? Normally it'll be a church member. Unfortunately, you church members, you get this responsibility. It's your church. But I will designate, I'll give you a key, and you'll get to lock up the North Campus or the South Campus, and you make sure the lights are out. You lock it up. You're the last one out to leave. Okay, so I'll do that before. We'll do that before the season starts. So don't worry about that right now. But any questions? Any other questions? Okay, I'll be around. If you think of anything, Rick's here. Let us know. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so Rick set that up, so you go out there and look at it. These ball racks will be there. The 4th through 8th will be down at the North Campus. It'll be in the boys' restroom, back in the locker room area. Put it back there so the after-school kids don't play with it. These will be in what we call the chair room. You'll see a bunch of blue chairs, and you'll see the goals will be. It's just right around the corner. We can show you that if you want to see that before you leave. Let me offer a word of prayer before we go, and then if you have any questions, holler at us. Dear Jesus, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for all these coaches once again. We ask that you would just be with them as we prepare for this season. Lord, we're so excited. I know these kids are so excited to be out here playing. Lord, I pray everything that we say and do would bring glory to your name. I pray kids would be saved. I pray lives will be changed because of you, Jesus. We thank you and we give you all the praise. In your name we pray. Amen.